Welcome to the Asking for Knowledge podcast. My name is Jeff Mabe, and this is episode 1. Asking for knowledge. What does that mean? Where did it come from? Several years ago, I wanted an outlet for some of the things that I was studying, some of the things that I was learning about. And as I went through this process, I realized that in our day and time, so many people have answers. They have tons of answers. They have tons of ideas, tons of opinions. Very few of us have questions. And so when I looked at this, I said, it makes sense that the people with the best questions probably have the most wisdom or knowledge, and asking for wisdom was taken. So I bought the domain for Asking for Knowledge. And so that's really where the name started. And as time has gone on, I really didn't do anything with the name until recently, and really have decided to channel our focus to youth baseball. So quick background on me: I have been a youth coach for 11 plus years. I've worked for about the same amount of time in physical fitness and athletic development for kids via owning a CrossFit gym and running kids programs, and then also for teams that I'm coaching. And so the purpose of this podcast is to just take a look at all things youth baseball, to discuss all the different pieces that go together. And we'll get into more detail in just a minute. But I've been fortunate to have a lot of experiences in life professionally. From a career standpoint, I was not a professional player, and we can talk about that in more detail in a later episode in terms of development and ideas and things like that. But really want to get to first principles on youth baseball and really break things down and get an idea of what is happening. What is the current state? What should it be? What could it be? What are people's opinions? And really spend some time diving in at a very detailed level as to what is going on with baseball. And baseball is a sport that I love dearly, as you might imagine. I'd already said I did not play professionally, nor did I play in college. And so, for me to still love it like I do speaks volume to the game and what it can do for people and the lessons that I learned and the relationships that I made. And so I want to do my part to just open the door for discussion around baseball and see what does it look like? When we really boil it down, what is youth baseball doing? Who's winning at the end of the day, and is everybody getting what they want out of it? So to give you an idea of the types of questions that we'll ask on this podcast, we'll ask things like, what are we trying to accomplish? So what is the youth baseball system, or the current way things are? What are we trying to accomplish? What have the results been? Are more kids sticking with baseball? Has the quality of play improved now that we have this travel system that kids begin earlier and earlier? What do the high school, college, and pro coaches think about the current state of baseball? What types of players are they getting? Why are 28% of Major League Baseball players from outside the U.S.? If our system is so good and so strong, why are we still seeing so many players, such a high percentage of Major League players coming from other places? What are families spending? What's the finances look like? What does this economy look like? Who are the winners? Who are the losers? And again, who's getting what they want out of the system? So I'm not here to really pick a side. I'm here to discuss things as they are and really pull the layers back and get a better understanding of what's going on and get to know it first before we try to make any changes. We may discover that there's no changes that are needed. But I do think the discussion is important, and I think we need to talk about things that are really hard to talk about, either with the coaches that are involved with your child's team or your peers. it can be a difficult thing to discuss this. So other topics that I really want to talk about: deconstructing the magic in player development. There's, for as long as I've played baseball, there seems to be this untouchable, ununderstandable, I don't know that that's a word, but there's this piece with baseball. It's like this just magic where you kind of have it or you kind of don't. And I want to deconstruct that and see what it really looks like. Is there a magic? And if so, what can we learn about it? And how can we figure out how to reproduce magic for as many kids as possible? We're going to talk about the mental game. We're going to talk about the mental approach. Baseball is has such a high failure rate from a game-to-game perspective. And so using that as a tool to teach kids what failure is about and how to improve and how to grow. We're going to talk about parenting. We're going to talk about the good old car rides home, the discussions that we have, the things that we talk about with our children, the investments that we make for their development, equipment, all the things that go into this. We're going to talk about coaching. We're going to talk about different approaches. We're going to talk about ways to communicate with players. We're going to talk about ways to run a team, ways to run practices. We're going to get in really down into the details related to that. And probably the biggest thing, and we'll talk about core values in just a minute, but probably one of the biggest things is how do we keep this game fun for all involved? Are the kids having fun? Are the parents having fun? Are the tournament directors? Are the coaches? Are the people that run the leagues, the umpires? It's still a game. It's still a game. Are we having fun? And if we're not having fun, who's not having fun and why? So really digging deep on some of these things. To be transparent, and again, we're open for discussion here, but to be transparent, I rarely run into anybody who is super happy with the current state of affairs. So you could say that if there is an angle for this podcast, it is just that I rarely run into people that just go on and on about how happy they are with the current state of the system. Maybe they love their team. Maybe they love their coach. Maybe their players doing extremely well. Maybe they're winning a lot. But rarely do I run into one that says, man, this is all perfect and I love it just like it is. So understanding who is, who isn't, why, all those things. So to go a little deeper on asking for knowledge, just to introduce ourselves so you know kind of who we are and what we're about, thought I would talk quickly about our core values. And we are in the process of building a training facility. By building, I mean just building the systems and everything that's going to run. Eventually we'll move into a building. So we will be a training facility in name and in function. But as far as this podcast goes, and far as who we are as people and as an organization, core values are important. And really they are the North Star for who we are and who we want to be. And so I'll run through those quickly. So first core value, love big, laugh big. So we want to show a lot of love. We want to show kindness. We want to show compassion. All those things are important. But we want to laugh big as well. We want to have fun. We want the game to be fun. We want to see kids smiling. We want to see parents smiling. We want to see people enjoying what we believe is a beautiful, beautiful game. The next core value is try. Everything starts with trying. This podcast is episode 1. I'm trying to podcast. And believe me, a solo podcast is not a fun experience. I've been able to do a podcast with 2 hosts and with guests. Much easier, much better than running at this format. But we do what we have to do. We try first. We get in the batter's box. We step on the mound. We do the things that we have to do to test ourselves. And so we start with trying. Not trying is never an option. We search for truth. So we're curious. We're not judgmental. We seek to understand what's going on. Let's dig deeper. What's the real story here? You know, is a parent just really mad about playing time, or is there something deeper that is not manifested, but we talk about it in terms of playing time and what their kid does or doesn't get. And that's one example, but not to go down a rabbit trail. But let's get to the truth. Search for truth. Let's see what it means in terms of player development. What really works? What doesn't? In terms of games played, how many are necessary and how many are not? In terms of showcases, all these things, right? Let's search for truth and let's figure out what makes things better, what gets us closer to where we want to be. Focusing on progress. We focus on progress. So we know that to get to where we want to go in life and in baseball, it is and what can be a long, long process. So we focus on little wins along the way. We focus on who we were yesterday. We don't compare ourselves. We strive to make progress each and every day. That's who we are. And lastly, we communicate with transparency. So we don't gossip. We don't talk about people. We just say what we feel, say what we think, and have honest and open discussions about abilities, about difficult topics, about playing time, about all types of things. So honest discussions, open discussions, both with each other and with the folks that we interact with. If we were to boil down what we do as an organization, comes down to one thing. We help young players master the mentality, mechanics, and joy of baseball. That's who we are. That's who we want to be. And that's our main goal. Make it fun. Make sure they develop. Let's maximize their ability. And let's build them as mentally strong as we possibly can. These are our future leaders. These are our future community leaders and business owners and parents. And so we need to make sure that we give them every opportunity to succeed and grow and learn and develop. So to give you an idea of what to expect in the future, this is episode 1. This is an intro episode. So there'll be 3 types of episodes for this podcast, none of which are like today. So rest assured, if this one's pretty rough, then the future episodes should be better. The first type will be asking out loud. So this might be me doing a solo episode. This might be me bringing somebody in, a friend or a fellow coach or a parent or just anybody, and we just talk about things. So maybe things that are uncomfortable, maybe things that a lot of us don't want to discuss, or maybe we don't take time to discuss. Again, questions like, who's winning in this game? Who is getting what they want out of the current system and out of the current arrangement? The second type will be ask the experts. We're going to do our best to have a slate of experts, whether it be high school coaches, college coaches, pro coaches, whether it be trainers and instructors, psychologists even maybe, the experts, the people that are informed, the people that make it their livelihoods to know and understand the things that are impactful, the things that are involved with baseball. And we're going to get their opinion. We're going to ask them hard questions, and we want to know what their opinions are. And so we're going to ask the experts. And then the last one is going to be ask your parents. And it's somewhat of a play on words, but let's talk about the parenting aspect of things. Let's talk to players that have achieved the highest level of baseball, or parents that their players and children have achieved that highest level. Let's talk to them about what that process looked like. Let's talk to current day parents. Let's get a better idea of what the challenges and things that they are dealing with. Let's just get a better idea of what this whole system looks like and really break it down piece by piece. So that is the intro episode of Asking for Knowledge. Again, here we want to just shine a light on all things youth baseball and do our best to give parents, players, and coaches the information, the ideas, the things that are going to move things forward for them, that are going to help them develop, and that are going to help them enjoy this most beautiful game. So thanks for listening, and look out for future episodes.